Gravity is an invisible force that works against you every single day. It pulls your blood downward, making the journey back to your chest a relentless uphill battle. If you are over 60, you might feel this struggle as heaviness, swelling, or an unnatural coldness in your feet. Today, we are not just going to talk about circulation, we are going to fix it. But first, you must understand exactly where your body stands right now. We will begin with a 30-second assessment. You start with a perfect score of 5 points. Subtract 1 point for each of the following symptoms. 1. Do your toes remain constantly cold, even in a warm room? 2. Do your legs feel incredibly heavy by evening, as if you were dragging weights? 3. Do your socks leave deep, visible indentations around your swollen ankles? 4. Do sudden sharp calf cramps jolt you awake in the middle of the night? And 5. Have new spider or varicose veins map themselves across your skin recently? Calculate your score. A 5 means your systems are functioning optimally. A 3 or 4 is a whisper from your body asking for help. If you scored a 2 or lower, do not despair, because what happens next will change your daily routine forever. The human body is remarkably resilient, and blood flow can be restored in a matter of seconds once you understand the hidden mechanics of your own anatomy. The true answer to this heavy burden was not found in complex modern medicine, but in the mechanical genius of human biology. Deep within your lower legs lies a hidden engine, a mechanism cardiologists respectfully refer to as your second heart. When your chest's heart pumps blood down to your toes, gravity assists the flow. However, pushing that heavy, oxygen-depleted blood back up requires an incredible amount of force. Inside your veins are tiny, delicate one-way valves. When we sit for prolonged periods in modern chairs or cars, these valves weaken. The blood begins to pool, expanding the vessels and leaking fluid into the surrounding tissues, which creates that familiar, uncomfortable swelling. Yet, the solution is remarkably simple. The only natural force capable of actively pushing blood upward against gravity is muscle contraction. Every time your calf muscle tightens, it vigorously squeezes the deep veins, forcefully launching the blood back toward your lungs and heart. When you sit completely still, this vital pump goes dormant, leaving your veins to bear the entire weight of gravity alone. By activating this specific muscle group, you can artificially restart the pumping process without even standing up. We are about to explore 3 precise movements designed to resurrect this dormant engine. These are not exhausting workouts. They are strategic, mechanical resets that will flush the stagnant fluids from your lower limbs and bring fresh, life-giving oxygen back to your tissues. Knowing the mechanics is only half the battle. The true transformation happens when we apply deliberate motion. We begin with the foundation, seated firmly in a sturdy chair. The first movement is the seated march, lifting your knees slowly and intentionally, feeling the quadriceps engage, and lowering the foot with absolute control. You must avoid relying on momentum. Control is what forces the blood to move. From there, we escalate to the leg extension with a vital toe point. Extend your leg, point your toes forward to tightly compress the calf, hold for 2 seconds, then pull the toes back to stretch the muscle and release. This simple sequence creates a powerful vacuum, drawing fluids upward from the ankle to the hip. Finally, we reach the ultimate activator, the calf pump reset. While seated, plant your toes firmly and raise your heels as high as mechanically possible. Hold that peak contraction, then slowly descend. For those seeking a deeper impact, this movement can evolve. By standing behind your chair and using the backrest for strict balance, you can perform these heel raises supporting your full body weight. This standing progression forces the second heart to pump with maximum efficiency, dramatically increasing the volume of blood pushed upward. As you execute these controlled repetitions, a gentle, soothing warmth will begin to spread through your lower extremities. That warmth is not an illusion. It is the physical sensation of fresh, oxygen-rich blood surging back into neglected tissues. Mechanical movement alone, however, cannot solve the entire equation. If your internal environment is compromised, even the strongest muscle contractions will struggle. Picture a river during a severe drought. The water becomes thick, sluggish, and unable to flow freely around obstacles. The exact same phenomenon occurs within your veins when you are chronically dehydrated. Blood is composed largely of water. When you do not drink enough pure fluids throughout the day, your blood literally thickens, making it incredibly difficult for your heart and your calf muscles to push it back up against gravity. Furthermore, the mysterious night cramps that violently wake you from sleep are rarely just about poor blood flow. They are often a desperate cry for electrolytes. An imbalance of sodium, magnesium, and particularly potassium can cause the muscle fibers in your calves to misfire and lock up in agony. By simply increasing your daily water intake and incorporating potassium-rich elements into your diet, like avocados or dark leafy greens, you thin the blood naturally and provide the electrical minerals your muscles require to contract smoothly. This biological synergy is what separates temporary relief from long-term healing. When you combine the mechanical force of the calf pump with the fluid dynamics of proper hydration, you create an unstoppable current within your circulatory system. The transformation of your health does not require grueling hours in a gymnasium. It demands consistency in the quiet moments of your day. To permanently banish the heaviness in your legs, you must adopt the 20-minute rule. For every 20 minutes you spend seated in a chair or resting on a sofa, you must perform just 20 seconds of calf activations. Before surrendering to sleep, lie on your back and trace large, slow circles with your ankles, 10 times clockwise and 10 times counterclockwise. This simple evening ritual prevents the stagnation that occurs overnight. And finally, when you rest, let gravity become your ally instead of your enemy by elevating your heels slightly above the level of your heart. If you commit to this protocol, retake the 30-second test we performed at the beginning of this journey in exactly 14 days. You will witness the numbers change, and more importantly, you will feel the lightness return to your steps. Your legs have faithfully carried the weight of your life for decades. It is time to give them the care they deserve. If this deep dive into your body's mechanics has provided you with clarity, share this knowledge with someone who is silently struggling with leg pain. Subscribe to the channel to continue unlocking the secrets of your biology, and leave your initial test score in the comments below. We will track your vital progress together. Stay disciplined and keep moving. However, the true mastery of daily circulation is not a modern medical invention. It is a deeply rooted cultural discipline. If we look toward the East, specifically to the centenarians of Japan, we discover a societal phenomenon that has protected their circulatory health for nearly a century. It is known as radio taiso. Every morning across the country, millions of individuals, from office workers to the elderly, participate in a synchronized routine of gentle, flowing stretches broadcast over the radio. This is not about building muscle mass. It is about joint mobility and continuous fluid dynamics. The brilliance of radio taiso lies in its ability to activate the calf pump and the lymphatic system simultaneously, long before the stagnation of the workday begins. By observing these communities, we learn that longevity is rarely the result of intense, exhausting gym sessions. True vascular health thrives on consistent, low-impact momentum. The Japanese philosophy understands that water that moves remains pure, while water that sits still becomes toxic. Your blood behaves in the exact same manner. Integrating a morning routine of gentle extensions and heel raises is the Western equivalent of this ancient wisdom. It is a profound act of respect for the vessels that keep you alive. But the circulatory system does not work in isolation. Running parallel to your veins is another critical, yet often completely ignored network: your lymphatic system. Think of your veins as the supply lines delivering nutrients, and your lymphatic vessels as the waste disposal system. When blood pools in your lower legs due to a weak calf pump, fluid leaks into the surrounding tissues, causing that tight, uncomfortable swelling around your ankles. This fluid must be cleared by the lymphatic system. However, there is a fundamental flaw in human biology. The lymphatic system has no heart to pump it. It relies entirely, 100%, on the mechanical movement of your muscles to push the waste back up toward your chest to be filtered. When you sit still for hours, your lymphatic system freezes. The seated march and the toe extensions we discussed earlier do not just push blood, They physically wring out your tissues like a sponge, forcing the trapped toxic fluids into the lymphatic channels. This is why intentional movement is non-negotiable. Without it, you are allowing metabolic waste to slowly accumulate in your lower extremities, leading to chronic inflammation and a heavy, aching sensation that no painkiller can truly resolve. To truly comprehend why our veins fail us as we age, we must look backward in time. For thousands of years, the human body evolved for perpetual motion. Our ancestors spent their days foraging, walking, squatting, and moving across uneven terrain. Every step they took perfectly engaged the complex musculature of the foot and the calf. But in the grand timeline of human history, a dramatic and damaging shift occurred just a century ago. The Industrial Revolution, followed by the digital age, redesigned our entire existence around the chair. We traded the fields for desks, the walking paths for automobiles. For the first time in human evolution, our bodies were forced into a 90-degree angle for 8 to 12 hours a day. This unnatural posture acts as a kink in a garden hose. It physically compresses the major femoral arteries and veins in your hips, severely restricting the pathway for blood to return from your legs. Your anatomy is literally fighting against the modern environment you live in. Acknowledging this historical mismatch is the first step toward reclaiming your health. You are not necessarily broken. You are simply operating a prehistoric machine in a world it was not designed for. Have you ever been jolted awake in the dead of night by a sudden, excruciating tightening in your calf? This is not a random spasm. It is a desperate biological alarm. When a muscle cramps, it is locking up because it has been deprived of oxygen or essential minerals. During the day, as blood pools and stagnates in your lower legs, the delivery of fresh, oxygen-rich blood is severely compromised. As you sleep, your heart rate drops, and circulation slows even further. The muscle tissue, starving for oxygen, begins to panic. Furthermore, as we discussed, the lack of crucial electrolytes like magnesium and potassium disrupts the electrical signals that tell your muscle fibers to relax. The tissue contracts violently and refuses to let go. To break this agonizing cycle, you must address the root cause before you go to bed. By performing the 20-second calf activations and the ankle circles we outlined, you are essentially preloading your tissues with oxygen. You are clearing out the stagnant fluid and ensuring that the microscopic pathways to your muscle fibers are open and flowing before you lose consciousness. A night without cramps is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of deliberate mechanical preparation. Beyond movement and nutrition, there is another ancient tool that can drastically manipulate your blood flow: temperature. The strategic use of heat and cold, known as thermal contrast therapy, is a profound way to exercise your veins. Think of your blood vessels as flexible pipes. When exposed to warm water, they undergo vasodilation. They expand and open up, allowing a massive rush of blood to flood into the area. Conversely, when exposed to cold water, they undergo vasoconstriction. They shrink and tighten rapidly, squeezing the blood out. By ending your evening shower with just 30 seconds of cool water directed at your legs, you are forcing the veins to contract aggressively, acting as a powerful external pump that pushes pooled blood upward. Then, returning to warm water forces them to open again. This rapid expansion and contraction is essentially a workout for the smooth muscle lining your veins, keeping the walls elastic, youthful, and resilient. If you suffer from heavy legs, integrating just 2 minutes of this thermal contrast into your daily bathing routine can provide immediate physical relief that lasts for hours. The journey of your blood begins at the very bottom, in the intricate architecture of your feet. However, modern footwear is quietly suffocating this critical foundation. Look closely at the shoes you wear every day. Most feature a narrow toe box that squeezes your toes together, an elevated heel that shortens your calf muscle, and a rigid sole that prevents your foot from naturally flexing. This design is disastrous for circulation. When you walk barefoot, your foot spreads out, the arch absorbs the impact, and a complex network of tiny veins in the sole of your foot is compressed, pushing blood upward into the calf to be pumped again. Rigid, restrictive shoes completely neutralize this mechanism. Your foot acts as a cast, immobilizing the very structures designed to initiate blood return. If you want to maximize the efficiency of your second heart, you must allow your feet to breathe and move as nature intended. Whenever you are safely inside your home, remove your shoes and walk in thick socks or barefoot. Allow your toes to splay. The simple act of reconnecting your feet to the floor without artificial barriers will instantly improve the venous return from the deepest vessels in your lower extremities. We spend a third of our lives asleep, an unconscious state where gravity continues its relentless work. How you position your body during these critical 8 hours can either heal your circulation or make it drastically worse. If you sleep on your back with your legs perfectly flat, gravity creates a neutral plane. But it does nothing to actively clear the edema and swelling accumulated during the day. However, simply placing a firm pillow beneath your calves transforms your bed into a therapeutic environment. Elevating your heels just a few inches above your heart reverses the gravitational pull. Throughout the night, the trapped, heavy fluids slowly drain back down toward your chest, allowing the stretched, exhausted veins in your ankles to finally rest and shrink back to their normal size. Furthermore, sleeping on your left side is highly recommended by cardiologists. The inferior vena cava, the massive vein responsible for returning blood from your lower half, sits on the right side of your spine. Sleeping on your left side relieves the pressure of your internal organs off this vital highway, maximizing the volume of blood that can return to your heart uninterrupted. While the calf muscle is the pump at the bottom, there is another powerful mechanism at the top that you control with every breath. It is known as the respiratory pump. When you take a deep, diaphragmatic breath, breathing deep into your belly rather than shallowly into your chest, your diaphragm pushes downward. This action decreases the pressure in your chest cavity while simultaneously increasing the pressure in your abdomen. This dramatic shift in pressure creates a massive biological vacuum that literally sucks the venous blood up from your legs and into your heart. Most people in the modern world breathe shallowly, fueled by stress and poor posture, completely neutralizing this powerful vacuum. By combining the seated march we practiced earlier with deep, intentional belly breathing, you are attacking the problem from both ends. The calf muscle pushes from the bottom, and the lungs pull from the top. The next time you sit down to perform your 20-second reset, inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds as you lift your knees. Hold for a moment, and exhale slowly through your mouth as you lower them. This is how you synchronize your anatomy. Knowledge without application is merely entertainment. To truly reclaim your vascular health, these protocols must be woven seamlessly into the fabric of your daily life. Let us construct the ideal day. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the floor, you perform 10 ankle circles in bed to awaken the dormant fluids. You drink a large glass of water, immediately thinning the blood for the day ahead. During breakfast, you sit upright, breathing deeply from the diaphragm. As you watch television or read in the afternoon, you enforce the 20-minute rule. The moment the clock hits 20 minutes of sitting, you execute 15 seated marches and 10 rigorous toe extensions. It takes less than a minute, but it completely resets the pressure in your veins. In the evening, you enjoy a meal rich in potassium, perhaps containing spinach or avocado, feeding the electrical system of your muscles to prevent night cramps. Finally, as you prepare for bed, you place that simple pillow at the foot of your mattress. This is not a strict, miserable diet or a punishing workout regimen. It is a gentle, intelligent, and highly strategic way of living that honors the biology of your aging vessels. We have reached the end of our anatomical journey. You now possess the blueprint to restart your second heart, clear the stagnant fluids from your limbs, and optimize the invisible systems that keep you mobile. But I want to leave you with one final thought. The health of your circulation dictates the radius of your independence. When your legs feel heavy and painful, your world shrinks. You take fewer walks, you visit family less often, and you slowly retreat into the confinement of a chair. By taking control of your blood flow today, you are not just preventing swelling. You are fighting for your freedom to move, to explore, and to live vibrantly in your later years. Remember that score you wrote down at the beginning of this video? Keep it safe. Apply these mechanical resets, hydrate your system, and utilize gravity to your advantage. In 2 weeks, that number will change. Your body is desperately trying to heal itself. It just needed you to provide the right environment. Thank you for joining us on this deep exploration of human biology. If you found this information transformative, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Stay strong, stay curious, and above all else, keep moving.